This is Pushkar's. Okay. तुझा आहे ना? Okay. नाही, राहू दे. Hello. So we have 4 institutes right now will make their presentations. The session will go like this. The institutes will make presentations for about 10-15 minutes. They'll introduce what the institute is, what the courses are, how can you get an admission, what is the process, what are the facilities, hostels, and everything. And after that, we will invite one person from the institute, and we have 2 professionals who will come on the stage here. And it's a more discussion about what is the life as a designer and what do institutes also offer. And it's an open, because a lot of professionals are there as a part of institute faculties. So this is only one of the curriculum across many educational curriculums where you will see professionals coming and teaching you. So that's how it will go. So we will start with MIT ID Alandi, and Avinash, stage yours.
Okay. Yeah, thank you, Yogesh. And thank you, Pradeep, as well. I was attending his presentation. It was really nice to see the progress that two-wheeler industry, basically Java and ESD, has made in 5 years. Okay, so interesting component, interesting development. Yeah, my name is Avinash Bhalerao, and I head MIT Institute of Design at Alandi campus. Like ESD, we have started 3 years back. ESD is little older than us, but we have been mentored by MIT ID Loni campus heavily for last 3 years. Okay, and we are trying to establish ourselves as a technology-driven design education institute. So apart from the classical or the foundation level design courses, we are trying to bring in technology component into it. Now, why this is? Because we are part of the Academy of Engineering. So MIT Academy of Engineering is an institute at Alandi, is there for last 20 years, and now we are one of the part or one of the school of design there, and we want to take advantage of that. And so mechanical, electronics, electrical, computers, and so on. So we have all these branches, and that's what kind of a niche we are trying to build for ourselves. Okay, now I had made this presentation considering that I'll get a lot of young audience, but right now a lot of them are missing, but still I would like to address few of them right now present here. Okay, so before I talk about that, about my institute, I would like to talk about three important questions that generally people have. So why choose design? Right now I know most of you have come because you already have focused on or zeroed down onto the design. So most of you might not have that question, but for some others it might be. Okay, now why you, why young generation, why people like the students who are in 10th, 12th, and so on, why you? And then why now, why it is the right time for us to be in design? Okay, so first question is why design, and why are we talking about it right now, and why should you opt for the design? Okay, see, basically we are all led or we are all governed and run by technologies a lot. There were conventional technologies, lot of advanced technologies, and lot of emerging technologies. So today we are at the best possible a crossroad of that. And everybody keeps talking about AI, VR, AR, IoT, and so on. This has already matured and going to mature a lot in coming maybe 5-10 years more, and you have lot of scope to play in this zone. Okay, you have lot of users available. Okay, every product, every service that we design is basically for users, for a customer or an end user. And we have breadth of people available, users available for you, starting from premium and luxury product to typical mass middle class, to the needy people. I'm not saying lower class, but needy people, specially able people, and so on. So we have so many, things to address to, and we can work on that. The third important thing is the natural resources available are depleting, and if as a designer we can, work out some alternatives for that, alternative materials, alternative energies, and so on, that will be really good contribution for the future. Okay. Now next level of challenges, some of these are hypothetical, some of these are like, the fears that we have, that what is coming in future, what is coming in future, and so on. So, making humans disease free is one of the big challenge, and lot of people, lot of scientists, lot of innovators are working on that. Maybe at the medicine level, maybe at the product level, maybe at the electronics, and putting chips and so on at a human body and so on. We are trying to be superhuman. Okay. Another big important thing is we are trying to go beyond the Earth. Moon ho gaya, Mars ho gaya. We are trying to find what is universe. We are trying to go beyond that. Now it's a big statement saying that designer can contribute in that area, but why not? I think in future, if you have a good technology inclination, good background, you should be able to do that. Okay. Yeah, and I think because with this background, I think design will give you an opportunity to work into various spaces of all these available spaces. Okay. Either one of that you can become an expert, or you can, quickly move into various peers and work and contribute in that area. Now why you? When I say why you, it is basically Gen Z and Gen Alpha. That's the latest generation we call. For you, again, a little background. The earlier generations have put, like, if I say the industrial revolution till maybe 1970s and 80s, there was a lot of basic groundwork of innovations, electrical, electronics, and so many communication and so on. Okay. For us, or for you guys, all these technologies are basic infrastructure for you. For during probably our time, I'm almost 49 now. So during our time, electricity was essential, communication was, partly essential, maybe vehicles were, public transportation was essential, and so on. So that was infra. For you, everything you consider is an infra. Okay. Every service you get at the doorstep today, even any world class experiences, you can, just get the click of a button. And I have been seeing this for last, at least in the central Pune, that, your parents, or you have a, car to drop at the school, to a tuition, to guitar class, and everywhere. So it is not a luxury at one point, but probably with this you are little less stressed, and you are able to think more about the future, more about technology, more about things that you want to focus on, right? And that's the best part. Again, for last 5-10 years, YouTube, Insta, WhatsApp, Netflix, Amazon, Uber, Zomato, all these have, given lot of comfort to us, lot of knowledge to us, and so on. Okay. Gaming is completely different domain, where I think it makes you multi-skilled, gives you lot of different dimensions of controlling various things on the screen at the same time, attending your mom or dad at the home, or a little kid at home, and so on, and also watching what is going on TV, and so on. Okay. So your senses are developed in much better way, your grasping has become much more. Now again, with this Netflix and all such things, I feel your visual senses, your tactile sense, not tactile, olfactory senses, taste, outside. So because now we have so many kind of a restaurant. So pehle idli milti thi sirf, abhi to you get all kind of, western foods in India, you can taste those. And so all these tastes have been refined. Okay. And in typical your language, this early exposure has made you pro in most of the things, allowed you to exploit everything in creative way. So it is not just figuring out or fiddling with the technology, but you are trying to exploiting it, using it for the better purposes. Okay. And I am hoping that this will help you to achieve a monk kind of a status. When I say that, It is like using the technology in a balanced way. जहाँ पे ज़रूरी है वहाँ पे यूज़ करेंगे, not excessively use it, and so on. So that is what will happen, and that will allow you to be a more rational thinker at the early age. And I have seen that that is already happening. At my age, at 26, I was not worried about whether I'll get a right internship or a right job or so on. But I can see, eight say जो students आते हैं, they are thinking about their career, their likings, and so on. So that's going to happen in a right way. Okay. So to conclude, I think when I say you are a global citizen, you have global views, again because of all the things that you have been seeing around for last 10 5 10 years and so on. You are already connected 25 4 by 7 to all the things around. You know best and worst of the world. Probably you now know that what are the priorities of the world, what are the priorities of the human. Okay. And that will make you a better person to work in any of the area, choose your areas, and go beyond. And again, this is my emotional this thing, a personal thing, that being an Indian gives us a different age. Okay. Because all these technologies are there, but we are at the core Indian, rooted with our values, and so superficially a lot of things have westernized, but still at the core we are Indian. And that again will give us a different age, different way of looking at the things, and so on. Okay. Now why is this the right time, or is it the right time? Both. So some of these questions have already got answered. If we see the darker side or the negative side of the things that have happened during the development, we are populated to the fullest. Probably we are polluted to the fullest. Our air, our water, the noise around, everything is so much distracting us, disturbing us, and so on. Resources are depleting. We have been hearing this, but nobody is working on that. Okay. We know that देखते हैं, बाद में कुछ होगा, है ना? Somebody will take care of that. The positive side of it is technologies probably are at best of the versions available for us to exploit and go on further on it. We have, I don't know what kind of data word we should use, terabyte or maybe petabyte or whatever that is available for us. So we have to choose or pick from that and use that knowledge for our positive thing. Okay. We have this 5G, 6G, and further generations would come in connectivity, communication, and AI also will help human brains to take this forward. So a lot of these decisions will be taken by brain, by AI, and we will be able to focus more on better things if we see this thing positively. Okay. Yeah. And so again, at the core, beyond money, I think we humans are still concerned about human lives and other lives around us. uh, and and so okay, so this was a global picture. Now coming to our picture, we have a lot of issues to be solved. Traffic problem is a big problem, noise problem around, visual distractions, visual clutter around is what we have seen, or is there at every level. Again, if we compare our product and compare Western or American product, we need to go far. We need to work hard so that our quality is better, our performances are better, and so on. And list goes on. I mean, there are so many things that we can work on. Okay. Now a lot of these things for the decades maybe have been forced on us from the Western world, colonial mindset, and Americanization, and so on. So this is the time, because we have enough money, we have enough experiences, we have people, your parents supporting to go ahead further on this. You'll be able to create something original, and that is my positive view about this new generation. Okay. And with that, I think you get an yeah. So with changing times, changing lifestyles, changing needs of the society, of the people, and so on, changing, every time we are getting a lot of new materials are getting invented, technologies are changing, and so on, and the medias are also changing. So at every level you need to rethink, redefine, and redesign everything possible around us. And when I say that, it's either it starts with a product, it also a system level and a service level, and so on. And then we talk about, a world class experience at every level. So if this happens, this is going to help us a lot. So design offers a lot of such possibilities. You can work either in a smaller possible or a micro level product to a system level product to, and so on. Okay. Yeah. And now I come back to, so I think there is a big scope to choose from and to opt in the design career. Little bit about, I'll quickly go through this because I have been saying this for a long time. Okay. So MIT ID, we have four different campuses in India. Loni being first, Alan the second, then Ujjain has come up 7-8 years back, and Shillong is also coming up. Okay. Now MIT ID as a group has 4-5 universities in India, catering to engineering, management, design, and lot of other things. About design, yeah, I'll skip this. So Loni started 17 years back, Avantika 7 years back, and MIT Alandi 3 years back. We are AICT basically affiliated to Pune University. So this was the first college in Maharashtra, at least, which is affiliated to any state university, and it gives some other advantages as a parent or as a student to you. Again, mentored by Loni. Um, so once you are affiliated to state university, there is something called as a fee regulatory authority, which regulates the fees or decides what kind of fees you should take from the student, because education has to reach to the common people. Okay, education has to be affordable. Yeah, we are technology driven. Our three core pillars that we have decided are, technology giving a better experience to people, and then a component of sustainability into it. So at every level we need to think about this and go ahead. Okay. Again, 4 years are divided into immersion, then introduction to the core discipline, then exploring and practicing that discipline in third year, and fourth year is going to be more working as a pro or a professional level person. Okay. We have been, really, blessed, I would say, that we have been mentored by Professor Atwankar sir, who was a ex IDC IIT professor, and under his mentorship for last 2 years we have been reworking on our syllabus contents and refocusing on lot of things. Again, from Loni, Dhiman Panchal sir and Dr. Nachiket has been very instrumental in guiding us on a right track. At our institute, we have product design, user experience design, and communication design, three verticals. Okay, so yeah, 150 students is the intake from this year onwards. We have 15 faculties catering to that. So this is our building coming up, came up, but getting refined now. This is the interior part of that. These are the typical classrooms. This is the second batch. First batch was with 30 students, second almost 60 students. Third batch is around 80 students now, 78 students to be precise. That yeah, this is the third batch, which was inaugurated couple of months back. These are the faculty members. Yeah, the admission process is again very difficult, very different from all other private design institutions. So admissions only happen through CET examination. Okay. And so this examination is planned to be happening in 30th April. So it's better that you register through our portal, and then we'll guide you to go, I mean, also be guiding you to about the entrance and the rest of the process that's going to happen for the CET. Okay, any questions, or maybe questions we can take later? Yeah, so we have a stall put up there, so you can go inquire more about it. I am also available, couple of our
Yes.
faculties are available, so we can take it later on also,
Yes.
right?
So I think we can take the questions later on, and you can
Okay.
go at the stall as well. So thanks,
Yeah,
Avinash.
thank you.
So
Yeah.
I will invite the next university. Anyone from JKLU here? Yep. Hi.
afternoon, everyone. Yes, you can hear me. Thank you so much for being here on a Sunday afternoon. I'm sure that all of you have better things to do, but you came here to support the transformative power of design. And that's what I'm here to talk to you about today. Now, since you're here, it would be sad to leave without having a conversation. So, I want to start with a few questions and raise your hands to answer it. So, how many of you in the audience have ever had back pain because of carrying heavy backpacks? Please raise your. Okay, there are so enthusiastic students right in the back. I see a lot of parents. So, my second question is to you. How many of you forget to take your medicines on time? Anyone from the audience? A lot of people, guilty people. What about again to the parents? You know, you probably when your kids were younger and you took them to crowded areas, did you ever feel scared of losing them in the crowds? I think all parents will be like, yes. Some of them might all have also experienced this. So now a lot of you are again thinking, why is she talking about these things? And what has it got to do with design? And here is why these problems are very important. Now, just before someone talked to you about what are the problems that we need to solve and everything, and it's so vague, but I want to consolidate it further. And I want to show you through our student projects what we're talking about. So here is an ergonomically designed bag that will reduce the chances of back pain in little kids. It's designed to the very inch of it, where every little detail is thought of in a very specific way. What can help little kids going to school not have so much back pain? Another example, for all the women out there, you have so many hairstyling devices, and you have a diffuser, you have a hairstyler, you have a dryer, you have a straightener, a curler. But what if all of that was combined into one device that you can use anywhere with different attachments? And this project right here is done to the very detail. Every little peg of it is decided, it's thought of by our student who's just in the third year. Another examples for people who forget to take their medicines is an application that reminds you to take your medicine on time, and it takes you a step ahead of that by telling you what you're taking. How many of you know the salts in paracetamol? We don't know, right? And it's a medicine that we take almost every fortnight. But do you really know what you're taking? Here is an app for you. Bank of Baroda, a bank that we all know very well. But what if Bank of Baroda realizes that we are not more relevant to the younger generation and we need to reinvent ourselves? Tada, a communication designer student from our university redesigned their entire branding. And here is one of my favorite projects, the student designed. A wearable watch that a parent and a child can wear, and the moment the child goes away from beyond 5 meters is when a haptic feedback will let the parent know about where the child is, and you can quickly take out your phone and see where your child is on GPS. A fun way to have tea in trains. This is a packaging project where you can quickly cut open the little packets, mix it in your cup, and drink your favorite chai. And last, we've been hearing so much about artificial intelligence these days, and it's helping you write emails, it's helping you correct your words, it's helping you generate images, and so many other things. But can it help you cook food? I think a lot of mothers in the crowd will be like, yes, this will help my daughter and my son to learn whenever they're at university. So, this concept actually shows that you can actually harness the power of artificial intelligence when you're coming to cooking, and it can show you if you're moving in the right direction. Now, this is what I want to talk about. These are the kind of projects that we are doing at JKLU. We started just 4 years ago, and we started with 20 students, and today we have 200 students working on problems like these, taking them to the industry and really making themselves a name. And this is done through these pillars. We look at future ready education. All of our programs are very relevant, integrates technology management. How many of you are watching Shark Tank these days? A lot of you. And this is the kind of innovation that we're trying to instill in our students, the kind of awakening that they need to know. Learning by doing. It's not just, of course, design is never textbooks, it's a lot of practicality, but it's also very experiential. Peer learning. For a lot of students, faculty are just like the ones that you would learn from. But for in our institute, you learn from someone who's from a different city, from a different culture, from speaks a different language, has a very different experience. And the kind of cross connection of ideas that happens teaches you a lot. Lastly, experiential learning. Everything that you learn is experience. For the parents here, you might not remember what you studied in your 12th grade, but you do remember the experiences you had and what they taught you. Empathetic learning, finally, is the core of our education. Empathy is something that is deeply rooted in design education and looks at every human as a user with very real qualities. It does not look at you as a statistic in your survey, it looks at you as a human with all your qualities, and that is how you get beautiful solutions. So, I'm going to quickly introduce you to the programs at Institute of Design. Product design. Now, a lot of you might think that products are this laptop, this mic, this table, this chair. But we have taken product design to the next level. It includes crafts, it includes heritage, it includes technology. Your Zomato, your Blinkit, your Swiggy, your Uber, all of these are digital products, and this sensibilities are included in the education that we impart to students. Interaction design. Now, let me paint you another picture. You go to a railway station and you're absolutely flustered. Where is your train coming on? Which platform? And then you quickly open your phone, you put in your PNR number on an app, and you know the real time update of where your train is coming on. And designing these sort of systems where information reaches you in a quick and a very handy way is what interaction design is all about. You might have heard about UI UX, and it's pretty hot these days with all the students and a lot of professionals. But UI UX is just a small part of interaction design, and we've really innovated in here with inputs from machine learning, artificial intelligence, basics of coding, voice user input, and all of the things that we were talking about in the things that are going to happen in the future. My favorite program, interdisciplinary design, something that most people have not heard about and none of the universities have offered except for us. Interdisciplinary design is for those students who love to do a little bit of everything. You want to become a product designer, you want to understand space, you want to do visual design, you want to learn how to do websites, and we give you all of that together so that tomorrow, whatever project excites you, you can go ahead and do that. We also have a very innovative program called Integrated Communication Design. Now, the kids in the back, how many of you used Canva? Everyone. Now you all are already graphic designers. You don't need to do a graphic design program because of open source platforms like Canva. And then what happens to communication design? So we've taken it very way beyond that, and we've tried to include every facet of communication design, whether it's radio, television, print production, filmmaking, sound editing, photography, lighting, creative writing, script writing, everything bundled up in a 3-year program with 1 year foundation that gives you all the skills you require as a communication designer. And the little family that I have, I'm just going to let you say hello to them. They are award winning faculty from NID, IIT, and international institutions. So we have Beda, who's an automotive and product designer. We have Shivatmika, who's an animation film designer. We have Amitanshu, who's here with us. He has a background from crafts and product design. Suranjana is a very famous designer who has taught in NID for more than 20 years and really set the tone for communication and exhibition design, not only in NID but in India. We have Devanuj, who is an architect from IIT Roorkee. He's a product designer from IIT Delhi, and he is a PhD in human computer interaction from IIT Bombay. So this man has spent his life in IITs. He's like the perfect kid, isn't he? Anirudh, I think you should know about him because he's won 2 Red Dot Awards, and I don't know if the design student know about Red Dot, but it is one of the most prestigious awards in the entire world, and very few Indians have actually won it. So a little clap for Anirudh, who's brought laurels to our country. We have Yash, who's a multimedia management and branding professional, and we have Asta, who's also a filmmaker, and she's won a lot of awards on her documentaries. She's done her master's from Edinburgh Napier University, UK. This is a little about our faculty. You can read more about them on our website, which is also designed by one of our students. careers and opportunities. So, like I said, 4 years ago, 20 students placed their trust in us with nothing in their hand. We had a classroom, we had four faculties, and we were like, come to us, let's make this happen. And today they're working at these companies. Fractal Inc., one of the most famous design studios, Idea Spice, which is based in Dubai, Reliance Brand, Zomato, Blinkit, and all of the other companies that you see. We have a lot of different resources at JKLU. We have MP Ranjan JKLU Design Resource Center. MP Ranjan is one of the prime foremost professors of NID in India who really set the tone for design education, and he has dedicated his entire book collection to us. We have studios, maker spaces where you can use freely, create your work, Center for Design Research. So as much as it's about practicality, it is also focused on a lot of research. Let me just take you to the wide variety of courses: 3D geometry, packaging, sculptures, compositions, photography, material exploration, creative coding. It touches every angle, patterns for 2D geometry, explorations as much as possible, concrete workshops, data visualization, and storytelling. And lastly, I'm just going to brief you about the application procedure in a very quick manner. All you have to do is apply on the website. You appear for a design entrance test, which you can do it in the month of March or in the month of April. So we have 2 rounds. One round just went by in February. And then you have to sit for a quick faculty interaction, 30-minute interview with your portfolio. That's all you need to do. Lastly, we train students to become ethical, enterprising, and effective designers of the future so that you become the next generation of designers that inspire the next generation of designers. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot. So I'll invite a person from IIAD. Okay, so we'll go with the next institute, RV Institute of Design. Is there anyone from Pearl here right now? No. Okay. Just to remind everyone that after this talk, we'll have a small panel discussion where we have invited 2 professional designers, and one representative from each institute will be also here on the stage, and we'll have some more informal discussion with them. We'll hear about what the profession gives you as a designer, how do the academia help them to get into the profession, and it will be an open chat. You can ask them whether they get paid well or whether they're doing the work that they really wanted to do. So it's an open discussion. So it'll be good for you to stay back after this panel.
Okay, and thanks, Yogesh. And the previous 2 speakers have talked about design education. I'm going to talk a little more about RV University. I mean, a lot of you in Pune may not know about the RV institutions. I'll talk a little bit introducing the institution. And then I'll also talk about our approach to design education, how it is different than what is practiced by most institutes in India. Okay, RV as a institution has a big legacy. We've been in South Bangalore for more than 80 years. We have a variety of institutions starting from high schools to dental colleges. A couple of years back, RV got instituted as a private university under Karnataka government, and as part of that, under RV University, we started with 3 schools: School of Design and Innovation, School of Economics, School of Liberal Arts, and last year we started School of Computer Science, School of Business, and this year we'll be starting the School of Law. Now, what makes RV institution is our objective is to be a liberal arts, a liberal education university, which offers interdisciplinary programs. I'll explain to you how that works for us in the design school. Yeah. These are founding deans of the RV University. This is our current School of Design building. We have big plans to come up with a new uh, campus, and which includes design as well as all the new schools. Right now, under School of Design, we're offering a Bachelor of Design program as well as a Master of Design program. We're offering bachelor's programs in product design, communication design, user experience design, and spatial interior design. And master's program, we're currently offering in user experience design and communication design. Uh, our program structure is based on a major and minor concept. So when you are in the design school, you take a specialization in one of the 4 fields that I mentioned, but you also have the additional ability to take minors from any of the programs that are being offered at RVU. So, for example, you could take a specialization in communication design and take a minor in performing arts, or you could take a specialization in user experience design and take a minor in psychology. So this is also, we were one of the first universities to adopt this NEP concept of choice based curriculum, where students can tailor the curriculum to their interests and uh, individualize it. Okay. uh, uh, so these are some of the minors that are currently being offered. And we also have minors being offered by the School of Design, which students from any discipline could take. A lot of our students, what they do is they take a specialization in user experience design and then take a minor in communication design, for example. Okay. The School of Liberal Arts also offers minors in psychology, filmmaking, Indic studies, and the School of Economics offers minors in entrepreneurship and marketing. All right. So this is how our current program is structured. The year one is a common foundation. Anybody who joins in is goes through a year's foundation program, after which they go into their respective specializations. Yeah. Similar with the master's program, the first semester is a common foundation. Uh, with the MDes program, obviously it's a much shorter program, and by the 4th semester, students are already working on their capstone project. This year, we've been fortunate that all our MDes students have got industry placements for their doing their capstone. Being part of a larger university, we also have the support to be research oriented. We'll be slowly soon introducing a PhD in design as well. Okay, and I talked a little bit about our campus.
Adopting a holistic approach to integrate the new RV University with the existing campus grew from the creation of 2 grand avenues that tie the future developments seamlessly with the existing buildings. Opening up the area in the administrative zone, we imagine the campus utilizes shared facilities within 5 distinct zones. The first phase of the RV University, the academic zone with 3 schools, is modeled around landscape streets that become incubators for students' activities and collaborations.
Yeah. So for those interested in RVU, you can visit our website. We have all the details of the procedure to apply to our various schools. Thank you.
Thanks, Ratan. So I'll invite one representative of each institute to come on stage. And we have two professionals here. They will also join us on the stage. So may I invite Wasim and Zui? Oh, त्यांनाच सांगणार आहे. Mic. Yeah, so I'll just give you a background of how this entire thing started. We are all designers. Wasim, Zoe, Pushkar, Nachiket. We are a part of an association of designers, and it's a non-profit. And we decided that when we joined design, we never knew what it was, and we were like struggling. And our parents did not know till we completed our design, started doing some work, say, "What are you guys doing?" And nobody had any understanding about it. So we decided that let's reach out to people, let's make it easy for parents and students to know what it means to be a designer, what does it take. And so this forum is more open. It will come alive if you ask more questions. uh, and there is no limit to what questions you ask. You can ask, how much salary do you get, Chui? And she may answer it with her own ways. But whatever it is, so I'll just hand it over and get the panel. So I would just request you to introduce yourself, give a little bit of introduction, and this is more about your personal journey as an educator, as a professional as well. And I've seen that that's what I had mentioned earlier, is a lot of you will get learning from a lot of professionals into these courses. They are not going to be pure academicians. So we also, as a lot of professionals, go and teach. So let's start maybe.
Hello. Yeah, hi. Thanks, Yogesh. Incidentally, Yogesh and me, we been working together for quite some time now, so we know each other. Uh, so my career into design was quite accidental, actually, because I never knew that design education existed. I did mechanical engineering, and I was working as a plant maintenance engineer at the Godrej Works in Vikhroli. And one of my colleagues told me about IDC, and then I got into IIT Bombay, which is also interesting because in this panel there's a lot of questions about should we do engineering first and then do design. We'll take that up. So after I finished uh, uh, IDC, I was working at Yamaha, Yamaha Motorcycles India. I worked on iconic projects like the RX 100G and the RXZ before. And then after that, I moved into a totally different field, which is what design makes design interesting, right? So after working in motorcycle design, I moved into television commercials. I was doing animation for television commercials. Uh, After that, again, I got back into automotive design. Uh, and so my professional career was almost about 15 to 20 years, after which I decided to get into academics. I've been in teaching now for the last 10 years uh, across institutions. I was with an institution called DSK ISD, which is based in Loni in Pune. From there, I moved to Anant National University. And then with Yogesh, we were in an institute called Vishwaniketan near Kalapur. And now I'm with RV University. So with me, I have an experience in both academics as well as professional practice. So I could speak from both sides of the story. Yeah.
Thanks, Ratan.
Um, I'm far younger than everyone. Those in academics, and I'm part of JK Lakshmipati University. My name is Amitanshu. I'm a product designer by profession, and it was a very accidental, not not accidental, but my aunt used to work at NIT, and in textile department, and she once took me, when I was in school, कि चलो देखो ये एक है college देखते हैं. And there was this guy who was working on a photocopier. बहुत सारे प्रिंट लिए जा रहे थे, लिए जा रहे थे, लिए जा रहे थे. एंड आई फाउंड अ बुक, एंड मुझे जेरोक्स कराना था, तो मैं खड़ा था. तो मुझे वो पूछते हैं कि क्या, क्यों, लाइक व्हाई आर यू हियर, क्या कर रहे हो? तो उन्हें लगा मैं शैतानी कर रहा हूँ या कुछ कर रहा हूँ, मतलब आई जस्ट वांट टू हैड अ थिंग्स कॉपी. तो मैंने बोला, यू, आई फेल्ट लाइक आई डोंट बिलोंग हियर, एंड ही जस्ट स्टार्टेड, कि जल्दी करो, आई जस्ट हैव टू डू. एंड that guy really, like his office, that person, he was in a very weird attire, and his office was a mess. Like wo photocopier was his office, and that guy was MP Ranjan. And so I, and that's how I met the, my inspiration, which eventually became my inspiration to study design. And he suggested me to get into crafts in institute of IICD, which he set up in Jaipur. So yeah, so that's how I got into design, and went into crafts. My background, my major is done in crafts products, and for initial years I worked as a craft researcher. There are a few contribution, फोटोज ही खींच पाते थे, इंटर्न था मैं उस टाइम पे जब डिजाइन हैंडमेड इन इंडिया बन रहा था. So with along with Sangeeta Shroff and all, so that's how I started going into and documenting crafts of India. And eventually I worked with Gatha as well, where he was also a mentor, Ranjan. And after his passing, I came to Jaipur. I started my own studio, and I still work with crafts, and I make products. I have a studio in Jaipur, and along with that, I love to teach only things which I can make. My limitation is, I'm not a theorist. I like to do things, and if anyone who, if you would been there yesterday, I did a little bit a small workshop on concrete, and it was fun because everyone was, I was just trying to be there, and कुछ बनाने की कोशिश कर रहे थे हम, और कुछ हमने बनाया भी कल, मजा आया. बट वही है मेरी कोशिश, and that's what I don't teach, I just work with students. At JKLU मैं नहीं पढ़ा सकता, मेरा इतना एक्सपीरियंस नहीं है पढ़ाने लायक, बट मैं उनके साथ सीखता हूँ. And that is what the energy of JKLU is. We build things together, because I think new ideas, the younger generation or the person who's coming fresh, क्योंकि कल के workshop में there was this guy who was 5th class, and he did an amazing work. ठीक है, बाकी there was a third year student as well, from various institution and all, because they're educated, they're into design. But this 5-year-old, fifth standard student was, ये मैंने गेम बनाया, and it was so original. मजा आया देख के वो कि, that's how, that's the originality of design. So so that's how I met the good student yesterday.
Right.
Fifth class tha, but this is what what we I believe in, and
Right.
we in JKLU believe in, is to take work together and create. Design is not like we it is not imparted, we make things happen.
Right.
So
So how
that's,
many parents from here have had this experience कि ये बच्चा ना कुछ तो बनाते तोड़ते रहता है घर पे?
हाँ, मैं
How
वही
many
बच्चा
of them
था.
are there? How many can you? Yes. So that's the reason why we got the professionals here is you'll reflect on what your kids are doing when they're 10 years old, 12 years old, and the designers also still remain great when they're old. So they'll keep breaking things. So
Breaking things,
that's
and
the whole reason for this session, to have an open discussion.
yeah.
Great. Thanks. Yes.
Yeah. Avinash again. I am born in Jalgaon, brought up in Pune. So from 7th standard I am in Pune. I did my schooling from Abhinav Marathi Vidyalaya Marathi medium. Wanted to do again join Abhinav after schooling, that is Abhinav Fine Arts School. But parents wanted me to do engineering, because that will give a right job, kamaega kuch type ka. Because till that time, fine arts was not that uh, celebrated kind of a education system. Did my engineering from MIT, and in MIT, I had a senior who told me to visit IDC, because I had good sketching skills. So he said that your skills will be really useful if you do something in design. So IIT for me was like a nahi, ye mere liye nahi hai. But then when I visited IDC, I thought this is the right place for me, and then joined IDC. I got good seniors in IDC like Yogesh and Nachiket sitting here, and then got a super senior like Ratan here. So worked for 8 years in 3 different industries. Started with VIP luggage industries. Second job was with Ratan, who mentored and introduced me to products. I mean, car styling, which was again a very passionate thing for me. Then joined Godrej Appliances in Mumbai. Worked there for almost 3.5 years. After then, for a middle class person like me, I thought I have gathered enough experience and confidence, and now I can move on and start my own design studio. So started a design studio called Iden Art in 2008. Ran it till 2018. I had a thought again in mind that after 45, I'll do something of my own. Again, move back to something in fine arts, maybe sculpture and something like that. Took a break for 1 year, and then again my mentor Nachiket came back saying, why don't you try join back in academics and give back to the students. And that's how I came into academics. I have been in academics for last 3 years. So I think the journey has been really good, very going in various possible ways. But I took it. Some of the mentors, some of the senior friends guided me to do something. But my core of good sketching skill, good empathy. Again, empathy is very mm, I feel it's a boring word, but your sensitivity of looking at the people, looking at the things have kept me in design, and that has worked till date, and hopefully that will keep me going forward. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Avinash. And if we have here somebody who can talk to you about how to make luggage, to how to get styling done in cars, or even engineer products. So he has been having good experience in that. Yes, Wasim.
Hi, my name is Wasim Khan. Most of us from this generation would always tell you that, we got into design accidentally. Design didn't exist. The word design was not commonly used as it is used today. So, you guys should be lucky to be hearing this almost on a daily basis. Maybe in the wrong manner half the times, but still, you at least know there's something called design that exists. You just need to get to the right place. So, my father used to work in Telco in Jamshedpur, a small town in currently Jharkhand, earlier Bihar. So I'm a Bihari. So I carry that tag of Bihari with me, which is not a great tag, but still. So we grew up in a very small town. So technically, if you live in a place which every parent who lives in the, in a radius of, let's say, 5 to 7 kilometers, goes to the same company to work. And they're all engineers. So the engineers, and what is the support staff? So obviously you need medicine. Medicine is everywhere. Everybody needs to stay, well. So doctors are everywhere. So technically, everybody's parents in my school worked in telco. So what do you think will happen as an outcome? Everybody has to become engineers, right? And unfortunately, I say, but the education in schools in telco was really great. So everybody could really become engineers. So that was the downside of it. So, people think it's an upside, but I thought that was a downside. So yeah, I was gearing up to become an engineer, obviously. And again, I say, I finished my 10th standard, dad retired, luckily. And I moved to Delhi to do my 11th and 12th. So if I had stayed back in Jamshedpur, I don't think I would have done design. But my 2 years of going to Delhi uh, really opened up a lot of avenues for me in terms of other things that people were doing than what I had heard of. Let's say, so there was somebody who would read news. That was a profession. There was somebody who would train certain things. There was a wildlife photographer. So fortunately, the school I went to had these one lectures every 2 weeks, where somebody from a completely non-mainstream profession would come and talk to you about his life, and that I thought was amazing, and that could have changed so many people's lives. So that 2 years in Delhi really kind of changed things for me, and I decided that I really didn't want to become a mainstream profession. Let's say practice a mainstream profession. I didn't know what I wanted to do. So that's where it started from. And but the pressures of the last 10 years of education was always there. So I had to sit for the typical IITs, Roorkees, and the RITs, and you had to sit for an exam. You couldn't tell your parents that no, I don't want to even sit for the exam. So I sat for the exam. Unfortunately, got through IIT too. I mean, that baggage was not leaving me. Luckily, one of the person I ended up meeting in Delhi, who used to be my local guardian, and my brothers. My brother did fine arts. He had to run away from home to do fine arts. So that was the scenario. So his mentor was a professor at fine arts in Delhi, and he said that if you're interested a little bit in anything creative, I think you should go and apply at NID. So that's as much information I had. Then it was completely up to you as to how much effort you would put in to get to where you wanted to get to. एंड उस समय एनआईडी का ऐड आता था इतना छोटा सा, कोई तो ऑब्सक्योर पेपर में, जो कभी पेपर किसी के घर पे पहुंचता नहीं था. So you had to really struggle. There was no email, there was nothing. So somehow got the application form, filled it in, sent it in. I actually sat at the courier office because the application form came in late and it was the last day for submission. So I sat at the courier office, filled in the form from there and sent it off. Luckily got through NID, so I had a choice to make. And till date, I would say that was the biggest choice that I made in my life. I went to NID and not to IIT. And that place changed our lives. So from then on, like you said, we didn't know what we were learning. We don't know how we would apply it. We didn't know what we would do with it. But just the fact that education, design education, what it brings to you as a person itself is amazing. Forget everything else. आज के time पे तो बहुत है, right? But the point is, design education actually makes you not a better professional, but a better person if you really learn it well. So that's what we, the reason that we're here. I mean, you don't see this happening ke engineering college se log aake engineering batate ki engineering hota kya hai, right? The reason that we're here talking to you about design is only for the fact that people really need to understand what it is to be able to buy into it. Like, for us, it happened accidentally, but we hope that that happy accident happens with everybody else. Yeah. So I've been running this firm called Lemon Design in Pune for the last 22 years. Still alive. That means the profession is working fine. There's so much work that you can't handle. And we do basically multidisciplinary design. We wanted to do everything, so we didn't kind of, slot ourselves into यही करना है नहीं. हमको communication design भी करना है, industrial design भी करना है, spatial design भी करना है, तो हम सब करेंगे. ये सब में उतना ही मजा आ रहा था. So we kind of open an interdisciplinary studio where we practice all streams of design. Now mostly focusing on experiential spatial design and communication and branding. The other things we do, but we kind of do it for our own pleasure, not so much for other people. So they're mostly self-initiated projects. And so I personally have specialized in experiential design. So I create experiences, not digital ones, mostly physical ones, integrating digital experiences within it. So that's my personal specialization. And to tell you a background to that, what I do today, when I learned design, none of this existed. So design gives you the tool which are so fundamental that no matter 20 years from now, 30 years from now, at the fundamental level, the rule still applies. There was no computers when we learned design, and today there are only computers. right? There was no digital medium when I created experiences then. Today, everybody wants digital experiences. But I don't find myself shortchanged at any place. I never feel incapable of handling something that's come today. So that's what it does. So yeah, that's my take on it. You can ask me questions later.
Thanks. Thanks, Naseem.
Yeah. Hi everyone. I am Zoe Apte. I'm from Pune. Would call myself a design baby compared to the experience on my left. I did my graduation in product design from MIT Loni a couple of years back, and after that, I did an internship in Copenhagen with designer Sebastian Homback, where I designed a lot of homeware, kitchenware, tableware, appliances like electric kettles, coffee mills, bread boxes for a couple of European brands like Stelton and Hey Design. Then I came back and worked at Ticket Design, which is a design agency based in Pune, in Baner, as an industrial designer. Over there, I designed very different things like air conditioners, everything that gives you air that I worked on. So, air conditioners, purifiers, ceiling fans. Incidentally, we also won a Red Dot Award for that project last year. That was a fan designed for Crompton. Uh, I also worked on a lot of packaging products, food packaging, cosmetics, beverages, agricultural products as well. So, quite a few different things, wearables. And post that, I felt that I needed an upgrade. So, I did my master's in Central St. Martin's in London, and I'm based there now. So, my master's was called MA in Material Futures, and it's based on design, a combination of design, craft, technology, and science, and anticipating needs for the future. What design can do in terms of addressing climate change, addressing sustainability and solutions, looking at ecological and biodiversity uses of design. So my practice currently is based on how sustainability can become a part of design and product design, and also using local communities, local resources, local manufacturing techniques. That's where a lot of my research has been in the last couple of years. And yeah, if you have any questions related to that, I'd be happy to answer them.
Just a small question, Joy. Which year did you graduate from MIT ID Learning?
Sorry. I graduated in 2018.
Okay, so 2018, and 4 years are just gone. And you might have heard about the list of things that she worked on. So that's the kind of skill that you get in terms of because that design gives you that base thinking which allows you to look at. So I just have one. I think I'll open this and put some questions across to them, and anybody of you can kind of take that answer. The first question is mostly around craft. Okay, so maybe Amitanshu can be the person who can answer. So you must have seen a lot of craft happening across your homes. Yeah, you get something for your tables, bed sheets, or even some artifacts. Sometimes people get nameplates which are crafted, and a lot of crafts with them. There are a lot of crafts which you see in jewelry and stuff. Now, that's also a very big area in which design contributes. So maybe I would just ask Amitanshu to structure, because it's not seen as a incomplete industry, but yes, it has a major implication on how we empower businesses, how we empower craftsmen. So
Yes. So crafts is all like the industrial age is still like after post-industrial age, we have relied on various machines to do things. But now and then there are many, especially in India, there are many crafts, there are many societies जो हम एक दूसरे पे डिपेंडेंसी जो रखते हैं उस चीज को हम चेरिश किया करते थे, अभी भी करते हैं. एंड you would find many of crafts which have been practiced here in India. And so we at JKLU, what we do is, especially in product design, courses and interdisciplinary design courses, in the in even in initial foundation years, we make sure that there are many things that you need to learn from these practices, cultural practices, from their stories, from their material, from their habitat, वो कैसे रहते हैं. But it's not like वो मतलब it's like हम कैसे रहते हैं, because there are various levels that we have created in our civilizations. हम एक metropolitan city बना रहे हैं, हम smart cities बना रहे हैं, हम विलेज स्मार्ट विलेजेस बना रहे हैं, हम ये पूरा एक स्ट्रक्चर क्रिएट कर रहे हैं. बट कहीं ना कहीं हम लोगों का जो एक इनेट हैबिट है ऑफ मेकिंग थिंग्स, डूइंग थिंग्स, टॉकिंग, है ना, जैसे इंदौर या भोपाल के जो लोग हैं, फट्टेबाजी किसी ने सुनी होगी, पता नहीं. अगर ये मध्य प्रदेश, आप इधर जाएं, आप बीकानेर तरफ जाएं, फट्टेबाजी होती है, चाय की थाली पे बैठ के लोग बहुत लंबी लंबी बातें करते हैं. It's not a craft, but I think it's an act of making a story, because their story don't make any sense. कुछ भी बोलते हैं वो, but वो चली जाती है. फट्टेबाजी उसी को कहते हैं जब एक इंसान दूसरे इंसान की स्टोरी को बस बढ़ाते जाता है. तुम क्या बोल रहे हो, तुम क्या बोल रहे हो, and it's an act of just having conversation. And that is also, I think, is a craft that we make sure that our students at JKLU understand that. And I think along with that, interdisciplinary design can learn and take a lot of things and create new mediums, new applications, new products, which are integrated in these Facebooks and new age Facebooks and Instagrams and all our tools, which have very human habits to it. So I think that is something that we are these days working on, and I think we are pivoting on. But the groundedness comes from our local habits of making things, doing things, eating things. Jalebi, जो हम खाते हैं. So crafts is not just products that we make. हम छोटी छोटी जो बात बना के कहानी बोल देते हैं, वो भी मैं समझता हूँ कि एक तरीके का क्राफ्ट है. एंड कम्युनिकेशन, हमारे जो इंटीग्रेटेड कम्युनिकेशन डिजाइन कोर्सेज हैं, उसमें हम एक असाइनमेंट था जो मैंने रिसेंटली हमारे फैकल्टी ने दिया था, वाज अबाउट कि आप ये फट्टेबाजी को आप कैसे डिजिट या फिजिकली कैसे दिखाओगे, बातों को आप दिखाओगे कैसे. सो आई थिंक इट्स, if you're aware about the society, locality around us, and you be yourself, वही पूरा act है.
Right. So if you look at what he's hinting to is, you will be trained in some courses to observe people, because what you design is going to be tomorrow used by people. Yeah, you're all sitting on a chair here, you're probably using mobile phones, you'll have a lot of products, and they have been designed by somebody else for your use. So unless and until you observe people. So I just have a question open to anyone who can answer. Yeah. So
I think on the craft side, I would like to add something.
Yeah.
See, once you are a trained designer, you start working in industry. Again, we are always influenced by Western technology, Western language, and so on. And maybe after 10-15 years working, you realize that yesterday we were talking about this in a conference, that we should have a design language. I think craft is the only way. If you keep working with that, you'll be able to in a future, I mean, working consistently for a long time, we as a design people or craft people will be able to come up with a language of our own only with craft, if we only work with craft. Yeah, and that's what I wanted to add.
So next, which burning question which everybody has and which Ratan touched very briefly, कि पहले engineering या architecture कर लूँ या immediate design में घुस जाऊँ. So maybe Ratan, you can elaborate. And I think so you did graduation directly, both are undergrads, and they have done engineering and then gone. So we have a good mix of people, and they can put their perspectives out.
Yeah, I think the biggest, I don't say it's a drawback of our Indian education system, is there's not enough counseling given in schools on what career options people have. Okay. Now, the other problem also is people make their career choices based on what are the job prospects and things like that. So these are two things that we really need to break. What I would suggest people is choose a career which you are passionate about. Okay, because you'll succeed in that. Now, but that when you're coming out of 12th standard, you don't really know what you want to do. Okay, so how do you do that? So which is where uh, uh, you obviously have attending sessions like this would be the right platform, so that you can explore, you can find out what are the options there. But for students, what I tell students all the time is, come with an open mind, because when you're coming out of 12th standard, you don't know what you're going to do. You are going to make some choices which you want to change later. You should be flexible for that. Okay. So coming back to the first point, yes, the safe route that everybody used to do is do an engineering first or an architecture degree first, or uh, and then get into design. If you're really keen on doing design, I would suggest that you do design as a first degree, because you get a lot more advantages when you do a 4-year or a 5-year program, which used to be there in the old NID. Yeah. So that's my advice to people. But maybe I'll
Thanks.
also pass it to Juhi, and maybe she can talk about that. And then Avinash also touched that he wanted to do fine arts, but he ended up doing mechanical engineering. He can also
Yeah,
add some insights. Yeah.
but I think to Joey, I'll just reframe the question. How were you in 2012, 13 before joining design, and what was going on in your mind, and how it actually materialized?
Yeah, probably I'll go a bit uh, earlier as well, in maybe when I was in 7th or 8th standard, 2007, 8, when I knew for sure I didn't want to do engineering. I didn't even bother to give exams. Didn't even attend those classes as well, because I was very creatively inclined from childhood. And so I knew that this is not where I want to go. And I was introduced to design by my father, who is an engineer but used to work a lot with automotive designers as well, and CAD centers back in the day. He used to work with people who used to design cars. And so that's how he kind of introduced me to this field. And probably I chose design because it was a more applied way to explore my creativity. It was a bit less open-ended compared to art. And I had a chance to think about people, address needs, and apply it to something that is a bit more tangible compared to art. The experience is a bit more tangible, and that's how I knew I chose design. I was earlier awed by the idea of making cars, and I would make cars and stuff. And in my foundation year, my director asked me a question when he asked me what I wanted to be, and I said transportation designer. And he asked me a very basic question: have you opened a bonnet of a car before? And I was like, no. He's like, how do you become a transportation designer? So then that's where I guess that was a dreamy world. But then in the foundation, I realized that my inclination is more towards products, things we use every day. I am more connected to that. And that's how I felt that I was introduced. And I would say, in terms of choosing design as a bachelor's degree, it allowed me to be more creative. Design allowed me to be more liberated, be more free, as opposed to engineering, where it's far more technical. And I realized that when I started working in the industry, where designers don't work alone, designers work with engineers, and the engineer does their job and the designers do their job, and the collaboration creates products in the end. So that's what I learned. But as an industrial designer, we were also introduced on how to work with engineers. We did have a little bit of technical knowledge. So we worked in the translation. So our drawings helped the engineers create their CAD models and their parts and their products, tolerances and stuff. So we just have to translate each other's language. That's what we do as designers. So we have the creative part where we imagine things, and engineers make it into products and real products.
You said one thing that we are not trying to tell here, that don't do engineering, right? That's not we are all clear about that part, that uh, don't take a decision that design क्यों करना है क्योंकि engineering नहीं करना है. No, that's not the story that we are trying to tell. Yeah. So as we rightly heard, they work together. I'll ask one more question. Maybe Wasim, you can take, or anybody else can take it all.
Before, I want to just reflect on the thought you said.
Yeah.
Okay. The one thing I suggest to people is, if you're really passionate about engineering, go ahead and do it. Okay. Sadly, in India, of the engineering students I've met, only 2 in 50 are really passionate about engineering. Okay. Everybody else is there because somebody else has told them that engineering is a good field to be in.
Actually, engineering makes things. We'll take questions. We'll just wrap up few things. The whole forum is to take questions. So this would be the last question. So the question to all of you is, what are the traits or what are the observations that you do in the students? This particularly towards the parents, that they observe, they know their kids for last 15, 16 years, right? So what they should have observed, which makes that kid get into design. Any take on that?
That's a deep psychological question. See, honestly speaking, I didn't know why I got into design or why they chose me for design. We in our industry, we say that design chooses you. You don't choose design. So for us, all that's true. I didn't go looking out for design as much as design found me. And when it found you, is when you discovered that this is what you were looking for all your life. So no, so as for me, I was the reason that I realized that I didn't want to do mainstream was because I was interested in doing a lot of other things other than just one thing, let's say. I had a very technical bent of mind. I was very good at academics. So I had all the traits of being an engineer also. But somehow I felt that I was more inclined towards a lot of other things that engineering was not addressing in that sense. So I wanted to do design. I wanted to do something that was away from a single dimension kind of a profession. And that's why when I also did design, I chose a discipline in design which allowed me to do 10 disciplines of design. I did experiential design, which allows me to do communication. It allows me to do industrial design also, system designs also. So it allows me to freely do things. I've made films. I've done art direction also. I've made structural stuff also. So I allowed myself to put in a situation where I can choose today and later as what I wanted to do. So if let's say your child is inclined towards a lot more things that he wants to do other than just one thing that he sticks to, that could be one of the traits. If he's trying to explore, I mean explore in the sense कि anything, just तोड़ना फोड़ना भी exploration ही होता है ना? Parents don't think so कि तोड़ना फोड़ना exploration होता है, but the kid is trying to explore at that point of time. He's trying to figure out what happens if it breaks, or what happens if I open it, what happens if I twist it around. So that's a part of exploration. So if the kid seems like he's interested in exploration, I think design could be one of the streams that he should be. I'm not saying the only stream, but one of the streams.
Anybody else has any thought?
I think about the previous question also.
Yeah.
I think we as a parent, I have a 10-year-old kid and I'm not worried about his future. Maybe now I'm trained in such a way that I don't have to worry about it because he'll find his own way. And I think as a parent, we should allow that to happen with the kids. Again, any stream that you come from, or any graduation or post graduation you come from, and then you move into the design or any creative field, that is going to help you. So architecture background will help you in a different way, engineering will help you in a different way. Even if you are not that and you are a core graduate in design, I think they are really creative, free, and their output is totally different from a person who has come from engineering and design and architecture background. So I think you have to be open enough to take the natural way, going forward. That's what I feel. Yeah.
I'll just add a little bit to that. So when we say design, it's an industry, it's an ecosystem. So there's no place for only one kind of people in it. So when we have so many disciplines of design, and there's design management, there are undergraduates, there are postgraduates, there's so many other field, design thinking. I mean, there the limitless disciplines you can specialize in. So we're not saying that it is only one thing that you do and then that's what you're secure. No, it's a big ecosystem, and no matter what kind of a design discipline you specialize in, or no matter what kind of a designer you are, you have a place in the industry. So you don't have to be कि बहुत creative है ही तो designer को काम मिलेगा वरना नहीं मिलेगा, नहीं. Some people can design well, some people can talk about design well, some people can think about the system well, and that's their core strength, and everybody has a place. So एक डिजाइन का सिर्फ मतलब ये नहीं कि आपका स्केचिंग अच्छा है तो आप अच्छे डिजाइनर बन सकते हो. No, that's a completely a misconception. As far as you can communicate your ideas, you could be a good designer. You can find your own ways of communication. आप बोल के कर सकते हो, बना के कर सकते हो, दिखा के कर सकते हो, तो उसमें आप कोई कम डिजाइनर नहीं बनते. So that's what I'm saying. It's a very wide area where different kind of people also fit in. So this whole misconception कि visually जो मतलब artist वाली quality designers में होनी जरूरी नहीं है, according to me.
Yeah, so very rightly said. And as I'll just, before we take questions, just add two things. One is when you think of getting into design earlier, design is a very new profession. If you say engineering has been around there for more than 100, 200 years, design is a relatively new profession. It's probably here for about last 25, 30 or 40 years. So earlier there was a limit and people had not unfolded it, what designers can do. But now it's quite a good decoded. I'll give you 2-3 examples. I was teaching a class in communication design, and there was only one architect who had come into the postgraduate course. There were 10 people from BA background. One girl had done law. So even now, design is open to accept students from other faculties to move. And I had a very interesting case. One parent walked into my studio one day and says, I have a very big problem. I said, what is that? 2 of his daughters were accompanying him. He says, this younger daughter is now appearing for exams and seeds and all, and she's going to appear and she wants to do design. I'm not worried about her. I'm worried about my elder daughter. I said, what's the problem? She has already joined dentistry. She's completed 1 year and now she wants to move to design. And there's a big fight at our home that why the younger sister is telling the elder one, why are you coming to my field? So anything can happen. Be open to that. So I'll open this forum for any questions, anything that come across. Volunteers, please take the mic to people. We had one question here. We are all okay to take questions in any language, Marathi, Hindi, English. काही प्रॉब्लेम नाही आहे. मराठीत पण विचार आम्ही उत्तर देऊ शकतो. त्यांनी सांगितलं तर आम्ही ट्रान्सलेट करू. आम्ही बरेच जण आहोत या रूममध्ये.
ॲक्च्युअली तुम्ही म्हटलात तसं की डिझाईन हे नवीन फील्ड आहे. आत्ता जे सिनियर लोक इथे बसलेत त्यांनी सांगितलं की पूर्वी असं होतं की काही नाही तर आधी इंजिनियर हो आणि नंतर काय हवं ते हो. ओके. आता मला तुम्हाला असं सगळ्यांना विचारायचं की आता स्कोप वाढलेला आहे का डिझाईनचा? म्हणजे पूर्वी जेवढा होता त्याच्यापेक्षा आता वाढलेला आहे स्कोप फ्रॉम वर्क पॉइंट ऑफ व्ह्यू, फ्रॉम मनी पॉइंट ऑफ व्ह्यू, बोथ. आणि दुसरी गोष्ट म्हणजे मला जुईला विचारायचं होतं की इंजिनिअरिंग ह्याच्या आधी प्रदीपने सांगितलं होतं की इंजिनिअरिंग इफ यू डू इट अँड देन गो टू से ऑटोमोबाईल डिझायनिंग इट हेल्प्स. सो डिझायनिंग कोर्समध्ये असं इंजिनिअरिंग स्पेसिफिक काही किंवा तुम्ही प्रॉडक्ट्स ट्रान्सलेट करता युझिंग इंजिनिअरिंग, सो तसं काही शिकवलं जातं का स्पेसिफिक इंजिनिअरिंग पॉइंट ऑफ व्ह्यूने?
येस, ओके. मे बी जुई आणि अविनाश.
So the question was no, that's okay. Yeah. So see, it's a 4-year 4 वर्षाचा जो बॅचलर्स ऑफ डिझाईन कोर्स आहे त्याच्यात टेक्निकल नॉलेज असतंच. ओके. म्हणजे प्रत्येक सेमिस्टरमध्ये ॲटलिस्ट 3 सेमिस्टरमध्ये ओव्हरऑल अक्रॉस सगळीकडे मटेरियल्स, मॅन्युफॅक्चरिंग प्रोसेसेस याच्याबद्दल नॉलेज दिलं जातं. आणि जेव्हा प्रॉडक्ट डिझाईन म्हणजे फ्रॉम स्मॉल असाइनमेंट टू बिग असाइनमेंट होत जातं तेव्हा मोठ्या असाइनमेंटमध्ये हा कॉम्पोनंट वाढत जातो. सो पहिल्यांदा मे बी रिसर्च आहे, मग एक्सप्लोरेशन पार्ट आहे, मग तिसऱ्या ह्याच्यात त्याचं फिजिबिलिटी पार्ट येतो, की हे जे सगळं बनवलं हे बनेल का? तर तो फिजिबिलिटी पार्ट येतो आणि मग टेक्निकल पार्ट पण त्याच्यामध्ये येतो. सो आता इथून पुढे असं झालंय, की सगळ्या इन्स्टिट्यूटमध्ये मॅन्युफॅक्चरिंग मटेरियल्स, प्रोसेसेस याचा दॅट इज अन इसेन्शियल कॉम्पोनंट. आणि जेव्हा ज्युरी येतात, तेही इंडस्ट्रीमधल्या असतात. सो ते पण इनपुट देतात. त्यामुळे ओव्हरऑल ग्रूमिंग जे होतं ते दोन्ही पद्धतीने होतं. ओके. हां, ॲब्सोल्युटली वाढलाय, ॲब्सोल्युटली वाढलाय. सगळीकडेच वाढलाय. म्हणजे आय थिंक एक 20 वर्षापूर्वी जर ज्या पर्सेंटेजमध्ये होते त्याच्या 10 पटीने आता वाढलंय. तेवढीच गरज वाढली आहे इंडस्ट्रीमध्ये. ज्या टाईपच्या एम-एन-सीज आल्यात, ज्या टाईपच्या वेगवेगळ्या कंपन्या झाल्यात, त्या सगळीकडे रिक्रुटमेंट एवढ्या हाय स्केलला आहे. जसं आय-टी इंडस्ट्रीमध्ये झालं, की आउटसोर्सिंग इज नॉट विथ Infosys बट अ स्मॉलर ग्रुप ऑफ कंपनीज. सेम वे डिझाइन इंडस्ट्रीजला सुद्धा स्टुडिओमधनं आउटपुट फार बेटर मिळतं. रिसर्च लेव्हलचा असो, डिझाइन कंटेंट लेव्हलचा असो. त्यामुळे हे सगळीकडे हे वाढलेलं आहे. ओके.
I just wanted to add something. Mic idhar hi hai. So the yeah. So initially we started जो आइडिया जो डिजाइन जो था इंडस्ट्री इन इंडिया प्रोडक्ट से शुरू हुआ था, हम सर्विसेज में भी आ चुके हैं. सो नाउ द स्पैन बहुत बढ़ चुका है. प्रोडक्ट तो बढ़ ही रहे हैं, उसके साथ साथ सर्विसेज भी आ रहे हैं एंड सिस्टम्स में हम वेंचर कर रहे हैं. सिस्टम डिजाइन प्रोजेक्ट्स में आप जा रहे हैं और डाइवर्सिफिकेशन हो रहा है कॉन्स्टेंटली. सो द नंबर ऑफ इंस्टीट्यूट्स आप भी देखेंगे यहाँ पे जो कोर्सेज आ रहे हैं हमारे पास, उसमें एक जैसे जैसे लोग बढ़ते जा रहे हैं, जैसे मैं क्राफ्ट इंस्टीट्यूट से आके आई एम वर्किंग विद यू नो अ टेक्नोलॉजी बेस्ड एंड सेम मैंने खिलौने बनाए. तो डिजाइन इज वेरी वेल सेड बाय वसीम, saying that it's the foundation जो है वो इतना grounded है कि आने वाले 50 साल के लिए आप रेडी हो जाते हो. So it keeps it, and the student keeps, or the person who gets into design, उसको वो branch out करता है. जैसे वो बरगद का पेड़ है ना बाहर, वो आप ही उसके you keep branching it out. So I think that's the power that you get when the person is in design. तो एक वो है कि स्कोप है नहीं है, वो बना देता है. वो चल चल के नदी बना देती है, वैसे ही किस्सा है.
Thanks. Zui, you want to add?
Yeah, so in terms of scope, I would say we are an increasing population and we need products for survival, not just products, but services. Design enhances the quality of your life, it addresses these solutions. So the scope is far bigger now. More and more products are required, more and more inventions, interventions are required. Things need to be redesigned to accommodate your current lifestyle. Things need to be adapted, and designers have the power to think in that direction. So yes, the scope is much bigger right now. And to address your question about engineering, की फरक पडतो ऑब्व्हियसली जर तुम्ही इंजिनिअरिंग केलं, बट देन यू विल अप्लाय युअरसेल्फ इन अ डिफरंट वे. फॉर मी इंजिनिअरिंग नाही केलं आधी, सो माय फर्स्ट इन्स्टिंक्ट इज द क्रिएटिव्ह इन्स्टिंक्ट, अँड आय ऑलवेज फॉलो दॅट प्रोसेस वेअर I first think about the person who is going to use the product I design. I will talk about products because that's what I do. I will think first about the system that he's placed in, think the people who are going to use that product, or people who influence that product or system where it's made. So my thinking goes from a different way. Engineers probably would think about how it would be made, what material would be required. Plus the exposure also we have through the course. So technical exposure पण असतं. आम्ही खूप फॅक्टरीजला पण विजिट करतो ड्युरिंग द कोर्स ॲट द राईट स्टेज. इंजेक्शन मोल्डिंग कसं होतं, प्रोडक्ट्स कसे बनतात, मेटल मॅन्युफॅक्चरिंग कसं होतं. सो वी हॅव अ बॅकग्राऊंड ऑफ ऑल दीज थिंग्स, अँड देन वी थिंक अबाउट की विच वुड बी द राईट प्रोसेस टू यूज फॉर दिस मटेरियल. So that understanding is given to designers for sure. We are taught about how to open things. We are taught about fasteners, joineries. So that technical knowledge we have. We know about making drawings. We know about drafting. So some skills that are parallel between engineers and designers are there. We know how to look at 3D geometries. We know how to look at 2D geometries, translate that into software, digitally made designs. use technology like 3D printing, hand skills like workshops, make things in a workshop, materials, explore that. So there's a lot of back and forth as well. So yeah, if that answers your question.
Any more questions?
I'll
Yes.
just add one. You had been up from the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll just add a little bit to that. When you talk about scope की बात करें तो ऐसा नहीं कि स्कोप अभी बढ़ गया है. स्कोप हमेशा से था. ठीक है, डिजाइन इंडिया में नया है, बट हम लोग एज अ प्रोफेशन, एज अ मतलब इंडस्ट्री लेट्स से, बट वी हैव बीन प्रैक्टिसिंग डिजाइन इन इंडिया फॉर एवर. है ना, बिना डिजाइन के काम नहीं चल सकता. सॉरी, मतलब दैट्स अ फैक्ट. Yeah, it's become a systematic industry now, and people are becoming more aware of it. That's why it feels that the need has increased, but the need was always there. ठीक है, सो नहीं हम बोल रहे हैं ना कि हम जब कॉलेज का जो मेरा फॉर्म आया था एनआईटी का एंट्रेंस फॉर्म, उसमें लिखा था, सब डिसिप्लिन का डिस्क्रिप्शन होता है ना, उसमें लिखा था कि फ्रॉम अ नीडल टू एन एरोप्लेन. ठीक है, आप स्कोप समझ लीजिए. तो एवरी डे वट एवर यू इंटरैक्ट विथ, इंटरेक्शन का मतलब क्या हो गया कि आप कपड़े पहन रहे हो तो कपड़े के साथ इंटरेक्ट कर रहे हो, आप कुछ बात कर रहे हो तो वो भी इंटरेक्शन हो गया, कुछ प्रोडक्ट यूज कर रहे हो तो वो भी हो गया, घर से निकल के बाहर जा रहे हो, जूते पहन रहे हो, गाड़ी ले रहे हो, एनी पॉइंट ऑफ इंटरेक्शन हैज डिजाइन, एंड यू विल नीड पीपल टू डू इट. नाउ पीपल आर रियलाइजिंग कि हम पहले बहुत साल ना बाहर की चीजें यूज करके काम चला लिया हम लोगों ने, बट डिजाइन इज वेरी रूटेड इन कल्चर एंड कॉन्टेक्स्ट. जो अमेरिका के लिए एप्लीकेबल है वो शायद हमारे लिए ना हो, शायद हो बट शायद ना हो. तो हमको यहाँ के ही लोग चाहिए जो यहाँ का कल्चर, यहाँ का कॉन्टेक्स्ट समझ के यहाँ के लोगों के लिए बनाए. एंड दैट्स व्हाई दैट होल फ्लरिशिंग थिंग इज देयर. सो द स्कोप फॉर डिजाइन लोकली एज वेल एज डिजाइनिंग फॉर द रेस्ट ऑफ द वर्ल्ड इज ऑल ओपन. So that's what I'm saying. You can't imagine how much scope there is. I mean, I am struggling keeping up with my work. I've become old now. But there's so much work and there's less resource. And that's why we're trying to create more and more good resource. Because ये industry है, जो education industry अगर support नहीं होगी ना, तो आगे जाके हमको problem होगा. It has to become a proper industry where there is a resource-based, module that happens. There's an outcome, there's a production. So that whole cycle needs to be complete. ठीक है?
Yeah, there was one question there.
Okay.
Yes, Aniket.
Yeah, myself Aniket. I'm a professional industrial designer, and I'm also alumni of MIT Institute of Design Loni, passed out in 2016. So my question to Zui is in previous generation, people basically knows about engineering and medical field. Okay, so if I consider that today in typically in design education, so we are aware about product design, graphic design, animation design. Okay, so now people are pursuing their masters in a more specialization field. Like you said, you are doing materials, right? Okay, so what was your motivation to go towards into that field? Also, my another question is, what are other possible options also that are available in other universities? And I'm also expecting when we can also expect to get such a kind of courses in Indian design education system. Okay.
So the third question probably is a too small a forum to answer. So maybe that we can take up later.
Yeah.
But I'll just rephrase and simplify your questions because the audience here is kind of an
Yes.
entering into the design.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
the rephrasing of question, I'll say that, okay, there is a basic layer of design, which is looking at, as she pointed out earlier, that there is a foundation, right? Which actually gets you really to know what you can do and then further. So if anybody of you can take this question and just add, what are the specializations available? That do I just stop at basic graduation or where can I go further?
I'll just set the tone in the beginning. I think these guys will be able to answer it better. But like I said, it is an industry, okay, and it's a very new industry. So अभी जो disciplines available हैं हमारे यहाँ पर, those are the mainstream disciplines. हम अभी उस लेवल पे पहुंचे नहीं है कि उसको भी सब बाइफर्केट करके स्पेशलाइजेशन, जबकि यूरोप में इंडस्ट्रियल रेवोल्यूशन के बाद से चला रहा है वो. तो इट्स अ वेरी डिफरेंट, यूरोप, अमेरिका, वेस्ट, व्हाटएवर यू कॉल इट, their disciplines are based on where they currently are. Right now, For us, we're just starting off, and to spread yourself too wide becomes a little difficult. So we need to gradually grow, and that's how we are kind of, it takes its own course of evolution to reach to that stage. So right now we are just making sure कि अगर 12th पास करके बच्चा डिजाइन सीखना चाहे तो मेन डिसिप्लिन्स क्या हैं जो हमारे करंट नीड के हिसाब से है. एंड दैट्स व्हाई व्हेन आई जॉइंड एनआईटी देयर वर 9 डिसिप्लिन्स, नाउ देयर आर 17. सो वो बढ़ते जाएंगे एज यू कीप इवॉल्विंग. उस समय टॉय डिजाइन नहीं था, बिकॉज किसी को लगा नहीं कि टॉय डिजाइन करना चाहिए ना. टॉय तो बन जाते हैं अपने आप, है ना, ऊपर से आ जाते हैं, सांता क्लॉज ले आता है टॉय, है ना. बट सडनली व्हेन यू रियलाइज कि इट्स अ बिग इंडस्ट्री एंड पीपल नीड इट, अदर इंडस्ट्रीज आर मूविंग फॉरवर्ड, बट हमारी इंडस्ट्री पीछे रह गई है. तो देन पीपल स्टार्ट इंट्रोड्यूसिंग दैट, एंड देन दैट मूव्स इनटू द एजुकेशन सिस्टम, सेइंग दैट इसके लिए भी पढ़ाना है. So I think it's a process of evolution, and it needs its due course to reach that stage where we can also offer specialized courses like material studies and masters. तो हमारा सिस्टम थोड़ा अलग हो सकता है उनसे. अभी हम उनके प्लेटफॉर्म पे लेके आगे बढ़ रहे हैं, but we will evolve ourselves. So that's what I think personally.
Exactly what he said. And too wide and too thin. Just wanted to add that word as well, thin karna. Because when you're singling out a discipline and you're focusing on, then you spread yourself. You eliminate a lot of things which are happening. So first, setting up a context is really important around you, and not just around you, around the country. What is happening? उसको समझना बहुत ज़रूरी है, and there's a balance that you need to strike there. And वो एक्ट आपके एक्सपीरियंस से आता है. when you're working, when you do real time work, ठीक है, apart from I'm giving you a very honest advice कि ये experience से आता है when you're working in the industry. Okay, so as you graduate, you specialize. अगर आपको specialization या फिर आपको generalization दोनों की जरूरत पड़ रही है, तो आपको वो तभी पता चलेगा जब आप काम कर रहे हो उस चीज में, है ना. तो इसमें हम so getting into the pool is something some will give you the context of whether you need to spread yourself or thin yourself, specialize करना है या फिर generalize करना है उस चीज को. And so yeah, that's my
Specialization will keep always growing. You never know. Had you heard of anybody who is a social media influencer 10 years back? And now there are courses available on it, right? So it'll go. So any more questions? Yeah, thanks, Aniket. Yeah, you want to answer that? Yeah.
Just the part that was targeted towards me. Yeah, so my reason for doing the masters was while I was working in industry. After a couple 2.5 years, I realized that I was making the same products again and again, without any addition, or rather we were presenting them with radical ideas and radical concepts, but there was a lack of infrastructure to execute that, or lack of funding, or lack of even acceptance of those concepts, where they they wanted to play safe and make only those things that would give them profits. And so I was a bit tired of that whole cycle of just adding more to what we were making, and cycle after cycle producing more products, which was not responsible. And I realized that I had a responsibility as a product designer to not put the same products out there again and again, which will eventually end in landfills. So I wanted to pursue something which was more sustainable, which wasn't available here at that moment, and I felt I needed a level of understanding that was available somewhere else. That being said, eventually, maybe in a couple of years, 2 years, 3 years, I would want to move here and start something on that scale. Provide that level of understanding that we need. Our needs are different right now. India, as a developing country, requires more products that solve issues rather than enhance those. And the understanding in the West is that they have kind of worked on these things already, and they are ready to work on things that are far more relevant right now to them. For example, things like sustainability, regenerative design, climate change. So I chose a specialization which was a little more broader, to do with understanding of that, where design and technology come in together, Design not just is functional, but acts as a tool, acts as a discursive tool, and creates more communication. Design products not just for manufacturing, but things that I design things that also go in museums and invite people to have a conversation as well. So that is what they are doing, and I feel that will soon come to us as well, where we have more expos like this. We start exhibiting things that we are doing right now, which we don't do much. Like, we have a lot of iconic designs which are not shared with people, they just become archives. So I guess that will soon happen in the future. In terms of specialization, there's quite a few things, right from strategy to design management, as even Wasim said. uh, Far more specialized things like biodesign, where we look at designing with living systems. uh, Material futures, we also look at global innovation practices which combine engineering, technology, AI, and design. There's quite a few things to specialize depending on what you want to do.
Any more last few questions? Yeah. Oh, we will take a couple of, yeah. Anyway, you can start and then we'll take this questions. Okay.
Yeah. My name is Amol, and by profession, I'm actually a structural design engineer. I have two questions, one as a parent and another as a professional here. Wasimji correctly said that, you don't do to choose the design will going to choose you. But being a parent, how the parent are going to understand, whether the child is inclined to this field? Because we as a, that we are from that, generation where miss you have to do only engineering or doctor, then you're acha bacha, नहीं तो आप wastage हो वहाँ पे. But being actually a parent, where how we can analyze or how we can see that the particular kid is, inclined towards a design. And my second question, as a profession, maybe it's quite premature kind of question, but being a pioneer of this field, you all of you, recently artificial intelligence is, that new thing actually it is coming. And this particular thing, how it is going to impact the overall, like, the design, what exactly right now we're studying, or maybe what exactly we're expecting.
Okay. So I'll answer the first question first. It's very difficult, but the only thing you can as a parent do is be open and let your child do what he is to do. You don't have to analyze. Let him do what he is doing and not stop him from doing what he's doing. So as a parent, I mean, I have a 7-year-old sitting right there in the dinosaur hoodie, sketching I don't know what. So I try really hard, it's difficult as a parent. Okay, not tell him, okay, stop doing this, why are you wasting your time doing this all the time? So as a parent, I think the only thing you can do is be the support behind. Rather than, analyzing and telling him what to do, make sure you're there for them, whatever they're trying to do. And if they're fit for design, they'll find a way to get to design. And if they're, so जब वो entrance दे रहा है ना, तो engineering के साथ design का भी दे दो, कोई problem नहीं है. Music का भी दे दो, चाहे गाने में कितना भी खराब हो, फर्क नहीं पड़ता. Nobody knows what, so I'm saying that all we can do is make sure that we have provided them with the opportunity to choose. Okay? Rather than training them to, maybe he's not supposed to be a designer. और हमने उसको समझ के sketching अच्छा कर रहा है, बना दिया designer उसको. ठीक है, तो I'm saying that lesser imposition is the most critical thing that we can do as a parent, and give him choices that he can choose from, and choices not based on our choices. Yeah, so that's that. I mean, it's a difficult task, but I think that's the only thing we can do. Nothing else. और कुछ नहीं कर सकते हम.
Yeah.
No, I'm telling you, it's really hard. It's not easy. I mean, you might see him sketching something random right now, but I don't know what he'll become. He wants to become a paleontologist. Abhi, how do I figure that route for him? I don't take that load. He'll figure it out. If he really wants to be a paleontologist, he'll figure it out how to become one. Yeah, so I'm saying that it's difficult as a parent, because we have also have had a conditioning. Our parents have said things to us, and then it carries forward. So we'll have to break that cycle, saying that हम अपने बच्चे को कम बताएंगे, बल्कि be that support behind him and give him choices to choose from. ठीक है, that's about it. Correct. Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't know what you want to do, but at least you know what you don't want to do. That is also good, because that's a very critical part of even the design process. The process of elimination is also great, Okay, before reaching to the place that you have to get to, you can reach there by process of elimination also. It might take a little longer for you to get there. But like you said, people have come after engineering, architecture. People have started practicing design after 20 years without formal education. So a lot of people who are great designers without formal education because they discovered the way through another route. ठीक है, तो मतलब we are fortunate कि है ना हमको जल्दी इंट्रोडक्शन मिल गया उसके साथ. But like I said, as a parent, just choices and support. As a teacher in my college, जैसे टीचर वाला जो रोल है ना, वो पेरेंट्स को भी थोड़ा करना पड़ेगा कि लाइक इट्स लाइक अ पॉटर्स रोल. अभी जो पॉटर पॉट बनाता है ना, तो बाहर से वो ही हैज टू टैप, बट इफ ही टैप्स विदाउट पुटिंग द हैंड इनसाइड, व्हाट हैपेंस? द पॉट ब्रेक्स. ठीक है, द प्रेशर इज इंपॉर्टेंट, बट वो प्रेशर को झेलने के लिए जो अंदर सपोर्ट चाहिए ना, वो भी आपको ही बनना पड़ेगा. How hard to hit, how slow to hit, and how to be that support inside will make you the perfect pot. Otherwise, it will break. ठीक है, so it's really important कि वो अंदर वाला हाथ रहे. ठीक है, ऊपर से आप मारो जोर से, धीरे से, बट अंदर वाला हाथ होना जरूरी है. He should know or she should know that there is that hand inside that will not let me break.
I'll tell you that the reason this discussion is going in this direction is we're all parents. Probably our kids are at the same level, and this is something that happens when you get into design. You will not be too much pushing about something. You'll not be marketing something. You'll talk from as a human. So if I feel for my kid, I will give that same advice because tomorrow that's my job to give the right. We have two questions from here.
Yeah. And then just saying my wife would agree with me that it is really hard. I have to try on a day-to-day basis. She's more empathetic towards him than I am. I am saying this so that it, कभी कभी क्या होता है, ज्यादा बोलते हैं तो फिर वो अपने अंदर भी आना चालू हो जाता है. तो I keep doing this to myself because I am not that person, like, because I have a different kind of an upbringing, maybe a more conditioned upbringing, let's say. So it's really hard for all parents, but we have to try every day.
Next questions.
नमस्कार सर.
Huh? AI related. I think we'll answer the AI related only. So we'll also take more questions.
Yeah.
If you want to take the AI.
I don't know how much time. I think we're already running.
No, we are running out of time. We are already overshot time. But if there are good questions coming, we'll stay here for another 10 minutes if everybody agrees. Because just to keep the thing moving, we have the next session coming in the same place by Professor Mandar Rane from IDC School of Design. And he's precisely going to talk about the topic that we said, design mein scope hai kya? So very interesting topic. We have seen his presentation once. He's a very nice professor from IIT Bombay, good friend. So do join back at 3 o'clock. So let's continue for about 10 minutes right now.
Okay, so I'll quickly touch upon AI. Okay, AI looks as if it's a fairly recent phenomenon, but actually AI research has been going on for the last 20 years. People who have been in computer science have been researching on AI. Only now today, like things like OpenAI and ChatGPT have suddenly come into the market. It's become visible. Okay, but AI has been used in different forms, especially in things like computer games. And so it's the same revolution that's going to happen. Like when computers came, everybody said, "What will happen to typewriters?" See, change will happen. So AI is a change like that. So again, it's up to us how we adapt to the change, how we learn its limitations. It will have limitations. Any tool will have limitations. It also will force new ways of working. Okay, so it is going to disrupt the way we work, but it is not going to disrupt the work itself.
Can we have questions from
सर नमस्कार. माझी मुलगी 10वी मध्ये आहे आता, तर तिला पेंटिंगची आणि स्केचिंगची आवड आहे तिला. तर आम्हाला वाटतं ती डिझाईनमध्ये करिअर करू शकते. तर सध्या कुठलं डिझाईन निवडावं, कुठलं डिझाईनचे कोर्सेस वेगळे आहेत, तर कुठल्या डिझाईनमध्ये तिला करिअर करावं आणि पुढे तिला जॉब्स प्लेसमेंट पण लागू शकते. आणि कुठल्या गव्हर्नमेंट इन्स्टिट्यूटमध्ये प्रोसेस काय आहे ॲडमिशन घ्यायची? थँक्यू.
कोणाला? अविनाश.
आता 10वीत आहे का? हां, मग ॲक्च्युअली आता असं 2 मिनिटात सांगणं अवघड आहे. तिच्याशी बोलून तिचं कल काय आहे हे सगळं बघून तिच्याशी बोलता येईल. 2 ब्रॉड डिसिप्लिन आहे. एक आहे म्हणजे फाईन आर्टमध्ये जाता येईल. तिचं स्केचिंग आणि स्किल चांगले असलं तर. फाईन आर्टमध्ये बऱ्याच पॉसिबिलिटीज असतात. दुसरं आहे डिझाइन जे जास्त नवीन म्हणता येईल, की ज्याच्यामुळे जॉब आणि याच्या पॉसिबिलिटीज वाढतात. सो हे ब्रॉडली 2 गोष्टी आहेत. त्यामुळे याच्यातलं काय निवडायचं हे पुढे निवडायचं आहे. आता आर्ट म्हणजे आर्ट स्किल चांगले आहे, कलर सेन्स चांगला आहे. हे सगळं असेल तर कम्युनिकेशन डिझाइनमध्ये पुढे जाता येईल. ओके. आणि थोडं टेक्निकल इन्क्लिनेशन आहे, की प्रॉडक्ट उघडून बघायचं, कसं चालतं, काय चालतं, तोडफोड करायची, काहीतरी करायचं. तर प्रॉडक्ट डिझाइन हा ब्रॉडली डिसिप्लिन होऊ शकतो. याच्यात पुढे जाऊन बरेच बायफर्केशन होतं. पण ते बोलून, समजून घेऊन ते काम करायला लागेल पुढे. ओके. आणि बऱ्याच प्रायव्हेट इन्स्टिट्यूट आहेत, काही गव्हर्नमेंटच्या आहेत, त्याच्यात वेगवेगळ्या ठिकाणी जाता येतं. म्हणजे आता तरी एवढं लिमिटेड आन्सर देता येईल.
एक
ठीक. आपण सेपरेटली बोलून त्याच्यावर बोलू शकतो पुढे. हां.
अजून एक की इफ यू डिसाईड की तुम्हाला डिझाइनमध्ये तिने चूज केलं, तर पहिलं अख्खं वर्ष फाउंडेशन ज्याला म्हणतात, त्याच्यामध्ये तिला एक्सपिरियन्स करता येईल, की वेगवेगळे डिसिप्लिन्स काय असतात. कम्युनिकेशन, इंडस्ट्रियल म्हणजे तिला वस्तू बनवायच्या आहेत का? तिला प्रिंट पुस्तकं बनवायची आहेत किंवा तिला इलस्ट्रेशन बनवायचे आहेत. तर हे एक्सपिरियन्स करून तिला ज्या साइडला जास्ती इंटरेस्ट वाटेल, असा ती स्वतः चूज पण करू शकते इन द सेकंड इयर. सो पहिल्या वर्षी सगळ्यांना सेम टीचिंग्ज असतात, सेम क्लासेस असतात, सेम नॉलेज मिळतं आणि त्यातून तुम्हाला ज्याच्यामध्ये इंटरेस्ट वाटतो ते तुम्ही चूज करू शकता. अँड टू ॲड टू हिस थिंग इज वेल, की तुम्ही जरी प्रॉडक्ट चूज केलं तरी किंवा फॉर एक्झाम्पल मिक्सर ग्राइंडर कोणी बनवला, तर त्याचा कलर डिसाईड करणारे पण डिझायनरच असतात. सो इफ यू हॅव दॅट सेन्स, की कलर कुठलं, मटेरियल कुठला, का तो कलर चूज असतो. सो डिझायनर ऑल्सो गेट दॅट बॅकग्राऊंड एज वेल. और इवन ओला इलेक्ट्रिकची नवीन बाईक आली आहे. त्याचा कलरसुद्धा डिझायनरच डिसाईड करतात. कुठला कलर कुठल्या सिटीमध्ये लॉन्च करायचा हे पण डिझायनर्स ठरवतात बेस्ड ऑन देअर रिसर्च. सो इफ यू हॅव एन इंटरेस्ट की तिचा कलर सेन्स चांगला आहे जसं ते म्हणले, तर ती अशा गोष्टी पण चूज करू शकते.
रिगार्डिंग द गवर्नमेंट इनिशिएटिव्स बहुत सारे नए आए हैं, स्टेट एंड सेंट्रल लेवल पे भी बहुत सारे हैं. इनफैक्ट इट्स अ गोल्डन टाइम 10th ऑनवर्ड्स जो माई गव और एनसीडीपीडी का देयर लॉट ऑफ ncdpd.com में भी, और इससे आप वहाँ पे भी जाएंगे माई गव में, जहाँ पे हैकाथॉन्स होते रहते हैं. अगर आप बिकॉज वो 10th ऑनवर्ड्स 8th ऑनवर्ड्स 8वीं क्लास से शुरू हो जाता है. सो इफ स्टूडेंट्स आर देयर, वो पार्ट ले सकते हैं उसमें. एंड आपको उसमें काफ़ी सारे इनिशिएटिव्स और आइडियाज़ आपको देने पड़ते हैं. सो दैट कैन बिल्ड अ पोर्टफोलियो. वो हेल्प कर सकता है आपका पोर्टफोलियो बनाने के लिए स्टूडेंट्स के, जो इवेंचुअली आपको यूनिवर्सिटीज और बाकी जो कॉलेजेस में आपके स्टूडेंट्स को दिखाने पड़ते हैं. एंड दैट आल्सो गिव्स यू एज ओवर गवर्नमेंट प्रोजेक्ट्स एज वेल इफ यू हैव डन दोस काइंड ऑफ थिंग्स. सो गवर्नमेंट के बहुत सारे विंग्स हैं, मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ टेक्सटाइल के अंदर, मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ कॉमर्स के अंदर, जहाँ पे डिज़ाइन इनडायरेक्टली इफेक्टिवली वर्क कर रहा है. डायरेक्टली डिज़ाइनर्स नहीं, इनफैक्ट डायरेक्टली भी कर रहे हैं, एनसीडीपीडी और इन सब के थ्रू दे आर डायरेक्टली वर्किंग, बट नॉट जस्ट इन द कम्युनिकेशन फील्ड. नाउ प्रोडक्ट डेवलपमेंट और सिस्टमिक पार्ट में जा रहे हैं. एंड नीति आयोग के काफ़ी सारे इनिशिएटिव्स हैं जिसमें डिज़ाइनर्स भी पार्ट ले रहे हैं. सो देयर आर मेनी आइडियाज व्हिच आर स्पेशली आफ्टर द न्यू जो माई गॉव और जो न्यू इनिशिएटिव्स आए गए हैं गवर्नमेंट के, उसके बाद से काफ़ी सारे एक्टिव आपको हैकाथॉन्स और आइडियाज मिल जाएंगे. सो प्लीज एक बार उसके थ्रू आप पोर्टफोलियो बिल्डिंग कर सकते हैं अपनी.
इन्स्टिट्यूट्स पण आहेत ज्या कमी आहेत आणि आता प्रायव्हेट इन्स्टिट्यूट्स बऱ्यापैकी यायला लागल्या डिझाईनमधल्या. आणि सुरुवात कदाचित चित्र काढण्याने होऊ शकते प्रत्येकाची, कारण का ती एक स्पेसिफिक दृष्टी असते काही मुलांना. काही मुलं चित्र काढतात, काही नाही काढत. काही मुलं खूप छान लिहितात, पण ती चित्र नाही काढू शकत. ह्या सगळ्या गोष्टी आपण पालक म्हणून ऑब्झर्व्ह करत असतो. तर जी मुलं खूप एक्सप्लोर करतात ना, काहीतरी मला हे करून बघायचंय, ते करून बघायचंय, शांत बसत नाहीत, किंवा त्यांना काहीतरी नवीन हवं असतं सारखं करायला, कंटाळतात. हे केलं मी 4 दिवस, आता कंटाळा आला, मला काहीतरी नवीन करायचंय. अशा मुलांचा कल थोडासा मल्टीडिसिप्लिनरी लर्निंगकडे जातो. काही मुलं असतात, की म्हणजे मी थोडंसं सायकॉलॉजीच्या बाजूने बोलतोय, की काही मुलांना स्वतः शिकतात आणि काही मुलांना सांगावं लागतं, की "अरे हे कर." त्याच्या मागे लागावं लागतं. तर हे सगळे ट्रेड्स तुम्ही तुमच्या मुलांमध्ये बघत असाल, तर ते स्वतः शिकणारी जी मुलं असतात ना, ती थोडीशी जरा शोधतील काय करायचं आहे. तर तसा एक ऑब्झर्वेशन ठेवा आणि पुढे ॲव्हेन्यूज खूप आहेत. डिझाइन हा एक अप्लाइड प्रोफेशन आहे. म्हणजे बिझनेसची गरज आहे, काळाची गरज आहे. त्याच्यामुळे त्याच्यात नोकऱ्या निर्माण होतात, त्याच्यात जॉब निर्माण होतात. आर्ट हा एक्सप्रेशनचा विषय आहे. म्हणजे मला काहीतरी छान वाटतं म्हणून मी ते अप्लाय करतो आणि त्याच्यातनं कदाचित ती काळाची गरज असेल की नाही सांगता येत नाही. पण तो एक्सप्रेसिव्ह आहे. इट्स अ पार्ट ऑफ कल्चर. आपल्या संस्कृतीचा भाग आहे तो आर्ट हा. तर असा हा थोडासा मूलभूत फरक आहे. तुमचा हा शेवटचा प्रश्न घेऊ आपण.
एक अच्छा, you have a question?
हां, this question. Yeah.
Please. Yeah. So I had a question to both of you as practitioners in the industry, right? I mean, you started 30 years back. You're just like 3 years, right?
Only 22. I'm not that old.
Okay. Sure. So, question is around, thinking difference between old school and new school, right? You're from NID, you're from MIT. So how do you see? And I would like to get a contra view because we see a lot of
We are the
disruption.
best. Just kidding.
Okay. We see a lot of, disruptions happening, across all the industries, right? Now, if you look at be it AI, be it sustainability, be it trends, right? Be it thought process. We talk to you, you talk of Europe as the center and the birth of design. We, or not we, but these generations see China as, producing design, but we never see, China mein design ka education hai. What is this contradictory view if you have to bridge the gap?
So see, like addressing the first part of the question about different institute, young and old. I believe that design becomes better with evolution and culture ingrained in it. So design colleges need to have that culture around how design is taught, and that takes time. Any place to build culture, it'll take some time. So that's the only difference I see. I'm not saying that NIT is better than MIT or better than something else. NIT started 50, 60 years back, right? It's taken its due course, and it's taken the time to kind of come to a stage where the culture is already set. Whereas all these people are finding their feet, and it'll take some time, and it's not like an instant thing. So as far as you're progressing on a day-to-day basis or year-to-year basis, trying to address that, building of culture in which this whole thing flourishes is important. So that's the only difference I see between a new age and an old age. It's not better or not better than the other one. But so it just takes time to, because that's ecosystem and the culture has to be built like really strongly. And then on the other side of whether Europe being the center of design, why isn't China that? Honestly, personally, I don't think about all those things too much. I'm more inward looking. So I tend to look at who we are and who we need to be. The rest of the world is an exposure for us to learn and understand from. Some things you can't learn here. You have to go outside to learn and come back and reapply yourself to it. So for me, education is more not definite learning. It's not definite. What you learn is not definite. So it always needs to be open to adaptation, reapplication, modification. So even when she's gone outside to study, but when she comes back to India to work here, she'll have to reapply herself. What you carry from there are the learning and the processes and how things are done, let's say. But then once you reapply it, you might find another completely different way of doing it. So it's very important to, understand the geography, because like I said, design is global in one sense, but it's also very, very local. You need to be able to address the local when you're looking at a global problem also. So for me, this whole idea of, figuring out who we are, I still, feel really bad that, design is 25, 30 years old. NIT started 60 years back. And we've still not been able to figure out who we are in terms of design. Every, Scandinavia has its own language. You can see a design and say this is Scandinavian. You can see Japanese design and say it's Japanese. You can see a Chinese product, a Korean product. Even though all Southeast Asia, you can differentiate between a Chinese or Korean product or a Taiwanese product. So everybody is kind of, has a language that stems from within themselves. And for us, we're still so influenced by all these different, because we've always been that as a culture, I mean, the reason that we have had so much international influences across history from day one to now is because we've been open. We have not been a closed culture. You know, इतने सारे influences बाहर से historically आए हैं, तो हम अभी भी वैसे ही हैं. We want to, we feel that the whole world is ours only. इधर से भी लेंगे, उधर से भी लेंगे, ये भी करेंगे, वो भी करेंगे. So for us, it's a very different objective. But for Europe, it's mostly about them. मैं क्या हूँ, ये है. But even when they look at global perspectives, also, it is coming from within their understanding of the global problem. So for me, it's I kind of try and concentrate more on trying to figure out who I am. थोड़ा spiritual है.
थोड़ा,
है ना?
the question is a little bit more wider than
Yeah,
what we are talking about in the forum. No, it's okay. Okay, so yeah.
Yeah.
In work, if you see differences, right? I mean, you get people to work with you. These are new gen, right? What do you feel? And if you have to work with the older gen, what do you feel? Kind of.
Again, I agree with what he said completely, that even what I learned was based on the knowledge that NID has created around this field. So even I learned the principles and practices that he learned as well, and that was probably made more relevant to my field or my year that I was in, or the age that I was in. And today, even I feel that what I learned was a bit dated, and I need to be upgraded to what's happening right now. So what someone will learn, like if your daughter chooses design, she will learn something that is complete, that has an added that has added knowledge to what even I learned, and that's relevant to her right now. But as we again evolve, we will have to like keep upgrading ourselves, keep trying to be relevant, and figure out ways in how to do that. And to answer questions about different perspectives on design, different languages of design, or Europe being the center, I feel because they've got a past, and design influence started much sooner than we had here. Again, like we did have design influences, just that it wasn't communicated. The society is more design aware, I would say. The every layman is more aware about design, its influence, and its impact, to the extent that they are aware of names of designers. Everything, probably design also, IP laws are stronger because designers are given credit. So if you go to a store, you would know who has designed this. Or even if you buy a chocolate, sometimes you would see the name of the designer on the packaging or the agency who has designed it. So for that to happen, I guess there needs to be an involvement from the policy side as well in our country to design, and so that we get that sort of recognition as an industry as well. But I think that's happening slowly. And in terms of China, and it's it even they have it, it's also becoming as a design center, and they have their influence and philosophy. From what I know, China has a lot of speculative design courses as well, lot of speculative practices, more future facing approach towards design as well. So like he said, I think we need to find our language and our signature now.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What remains constant is the knowledge. The shift is in the skills, and you keep what you learn, what the PG sub mein aap you skill keep adding on to the pile of skill. And the best example is in the t-shirt that he's wearing, and also to the previous discussion that we were having. The t-shirt, why I'm saying this, is in London Metro ka. So it was designed by a plumber. We were discussing a few days back.
Engineer.
Electronic.
He was a PCB designer.
PCB, okay, yeah. So, just not a designer. He was a technician there, and it was not designed by a designer.
Designed by a graphic designer. That's what
graphic designer. So it was designed by a person who's working there in the tubes. The tubes कहते हैं. So, and the map and it's one of the most iconic piece of design. So ये skill आप वो कर सकते हो, but knowledge remains pretty constant.
Thank you.
So thanks. I think we should close the session because everybody is चूहे दौड़ रहे होंगे. So let's take the break and we'll again convene at 3 p.m. For Professor Mandarane's session. It will be very interesting and very exciting. So let's join back. Thanks a lot, all the panelists, for sharing your views. And that's the whole open discussion that we wanted to create. Thanks.